I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Aracha HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and even the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to your other brother and your fellow believers and followers of this truth, even your few sisters, and shalom to the elect. So anyway, elder brother from DC called me this morning. I was out and he said this situation happened with this Francis Scott Key Bridge. So I'll get into a little bit of history on him, which a lot of us know, but for the video edification. But then I remembered this brother here, screen channel here. What is this screen channel? Yahweh Shai's Prophecies, right? Let me see here. Yeah, GMS Yahweh Shai's Prophecies, which is my oldest son. And he goes to work and he crosses that bridge. And this is the crazy thing. He works the afternoon shift. In the afternoon shift, like 4 to 12. Sometimes he's a little later because he has to stay. He's obligated to stay until it's time to leave. And right at that time, about 1:30, 1:35 is when this incident happened. 1:35 a.m. in the morning, by the way. And the crazy thing is, the job laid him off like a month ago. And they didn't give him an answer. They didn't know. We didn't know why. We had no clue why they laid him off. They never called him back. Nothing. I mean, nothing that we knew there was concrete proof. He kind of told me that somebody on the job was acting out on it, in his shift. But that's all we knew. Me personally, I'm always, I coach brothers. I had that at camp. I tell brothers to fight, file appeals. That's the name of the game, appeals. Appeals put everything in a stall process where nobody's guilty, nobody's innocent. It's just right in the middle. So you got to continue until you're proven guilty or innocent. Kind of like court. But he said he wanted to move on anyway because it was a lot of, driving. He's burning a lot of gas and he just wanted to get something closer. But anyway, so I said, hey, man, you got to go find another job. Do what you got to do. He might, in some cases, work with me or whatever the case is. So right after as we know, the Passover, we throw up the blessings and the cursings, right? And I'd imagine this was one of the things that we were thinking about, but the Lord, the way he works, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, we had no idea something like that would happen, right? So, we know it's a lot of, media hype on it and all the things going on. But I will say, you don't know the magnitude of something unless you are involved in it, or like, can you imagine the people that rode past it 10 minutes or 5 minutes before? If they would have just been a little bit sooner, and the people that was there in the incident when it happened, or the people before it happened. So the terrors of the Lord is something, right? Psalms 47:2 says the Most High is a terrible king over all the earth, and that just means the most feared. Now, this is just a small situation compared to the drama and the troubles that's going to come, in Babylon and throughout the world. But Babylon, mainly, this is a sign, and I believe that this is a sign. The ship hit and cracked the bridge up. Now, when you go back to Francis Scott Key, going back to the 1812, right? Now, we know all this was built off of slavery and bloodshed. They have this thing called the Anti-Debt League, the ADL, right? I have no understanding why the rap videos and rap music ain't involved in that either. Or the bloodshed that transpired to these rappers and broken families and crack addicts the root cause of it, and why isn't that being held responsible? Because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai used them to do his work. And then ultimately, it's going to be cleanup time. I'm going to read Ecclesiastes 3:15, right? It's Ecclesiastes 3:15. It says, that which has been is now, and that which is to be has already been, in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai require that which is past. So nobody gets away. Even in this man's system, if you kill somebody, you shoot somebody, and 50 years go by, you 70, 80 years old, they're still going to bring you to justice if cold case catches you. But when you see generational wealth and how it was established, everybody turns a blind eye on it, right? And it's no big deal, okay? Now, I'm going to read this little clip. It's not much, but I'm going to read a little bit. It says, the lyrics of the Star-Spangled Banner. By the way, here in Baltimore, when you're in the elementary school, you have to go visit, you got to go visit the memorial of the War of 1812, the Star-Spangled Banner, the ships, Fort McHenry, let me say that. You have to visit it here in Baltimore. I remember going on the trips, right? So, yeah. And Edgar Allan Poe and all that, they kind of forced it on the children. And I remember they always said great things about Francis Scott and the saving of the country and so forth and so on, right? But here we are today, we understand different, which tells you everything was a lie. And this is what we go into Christianity. At that time, there was another point of Christianity dealing with this situation where they forced slaves to convert to Christianity and told them they'd be free. And they wasn't free, right? Anyway, the lyrics of the Star-Spangled Banner come from Francis Scott Key's poem, Defense of the Fort McHenry, which he wrote on board a negotiating ship during the Battle of Baltimore. Now, we know that how this man took the world. He took it by the waters, right? The War of 1812, the original poem, has 4 verses. The third verse is unusual because it contains anger directed at former slaves who fought for the British and helped defeat American forces at the Battle of Bladensburg. It says their blood was washed out their soul, out their foul footsteps. Let me read it again. It's written differently. Their blood has washed out their foul footsteps. Pollution. No refuge could save the hireling and slave for the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. Yeah, Edom got a lot to pay for. There's no doubt about it. It says the events of the Star-Spangled Banner are a bit of misconception by Francis Scott Key. He witnessed the bombardment from the ship outside the harbor and wrote the poem on board the ship. His knowledge of what was happening inside the fort was somewhat limited. Now, this is just an article, so I'm just reading it. The British, as the last-ditch effort, after failing to take Baltimore by land and unable to enter the harbor due to Fort McHenry cannons. So, I'm not going to go too far in that. Deliberately sunken ships had low water levels, decided to withdraw rockets and red glare, and the bombs bursting in air. Yeah, so we see, let's go to Nahum 3:1. Nahum 3:1. I'm going to try to keep this short. It says, woe to the bloody city, right? It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. We can also go to Habakkuk 2, which I think I'm going to go there real quick, because that is very relevant when we're talking about this situation. Let's go to Habakkuk 2, and I always say I'm going to try to keep it short, but something else comes up. It says, yea, also, 2 and 5, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Right? So, even when you go to Antiochus, I believe it was Antiochus, who went into Egypt and took down Ptolemy, you had these situations happening, and still off the backs of Israelites. So we always caught up in the middle. But in the end result, we're the ones always suffering. Right? Let's go to Psalms. This is scripture I wanted to bring out. Jeremiah 10 and 23. I don't know if I read it. Oh Lord, I know the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. So now, going back to the situation, we understand now that the Lord directed his steps not to have that job or to get laid off. And I don't even think it was laid off. I don't know what happened. He just said not to come in. Well, this is like a month ago, and they never called him back. And he's been on the job for like 4 or 5 years. So that was weird. But it's kind of crazy. Right after the Passover, we understand that the Lord directs your steps. And like I said, he may come home right around that time. He's crossing that bridge or have already crossed it. Again, this shows that we must have the fear of the Lord. Isaiah 14 and 11, the pomp is brought down to the grave, talking about his excellency, right? And the noise of the vials, right? The worms is spread under thee, the worms cover thee. Now, with all that technology, this is a form of infrastructure that is constantly being destroyed, constantly being broken down, right? It's constantly, if it's not this, it's potholes, it's causing accidents and busting up people's cars and hurting people. There's pile-ups on the beltway because of potholes or because of failing brakes or because the way the people today are in such of a hurry. Their whole agenda is to be competitive and beat other people that they destroy themselves. The scripture says the love of many shall wax cold. So again, I don't know what happened with the situation. It all may be exposed, or it's always, when you see these situations, it's always 10 sides, Well, you could say it's one side and the other side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth, right? And then it would be up to you to make that decision, because media coverage, they cover what they want and they put out what they want you to hear. And it's always a leak. But then that's not always credible, or it's not always foolproof. So at the end of the day, we just take it like it's the act of the Lord. This is also going to cause, a financial situation, right? Where there's going to be a lot of lawsuits. That people are going to miss work. You name it. This is going to cause a heck of a lot of problems, right? This is going to cause a lot. Psalms 5 and 11. But let all those that put their trust in thee rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy, because thou defendest them. Let them also, that they may love thy name, be joyful in thee. That they love thy name, be joyful in thee. Okay? This is why the name is very important as well. So anyway, I just wanted to touch on that topic real quick. Reap what you sow. And this is just the beginning. That's all I have on that. Shalom.